Hello everyone! While I'm working on a new playthrough, I picked a couple of my older ones that would be more interesting to comment. And today it's going to be one of my favorite small maps. The map that I think everyone still learning should play, as it provides many great fights to test and improve your raw combat skills. One of its greatest properties is that you don't have any magic, and it's, I think, very important to learn how to win your fight without it. It's extremely helpful in regular open world maps on 200% difficulty, because this way you can start being aggressive from day one. You might be surprised how much you can do. Welcome to the playthrough of the Spooky Forest. And as I said, it's a small map, and it is a complete playthrough in just a single video. I love this sort of maps. If you have suggestions of great similarly small maps, please share them in the comments. Let's get into the map. And first I'm rolling an artifact. The best options in my opinion are Spirit of Oppression, Ring of Oppression, and the Necklace of Swiftness. In this case, I think only the necklace is available. The Spirit of Oppression is actually laying around not far from the start, and it's disabled as a starting artifact, and here I rolled the necklace, so I'm pretty happy with the roll here. Funny enough, Spirit of Oppression is actually not far from the start. But anyway, the map starts with a very common troll regeneration play. The idea is basically to reduce amount of damage we take every turn by defending and positioning in choke points, like in this fight. And it actually demonstrates why Spirit of Oppression is great, and it's my favorite artifact actually. Just look at how many morale procs these medusas get. Ideally, I would want to push my troll one tile forward, like here. This way only two medusa stacks can hit the troll, and it works much better. Okay, good. Yeah, so the Spirit of Oppression is actually behind the mountain on the left side of the screen here, and I successfully missed it. This map actually has some very interesting fights, which to me it was very unexpected that they could be won like without losses. And a bit of a disclaimer, this fight in this map you actually need to be playing with, well, you can be losing some units, but most units you cannot be losing, and the only unit basically you can be losing is Dendroids. You will get them much later. And I think I did overcomplicate this fight. I could have just kept my troll in the bottom left or top left corner. Yeah, I missed sandals there. And it looks like they might be guarded, but no. The one maybe a bit of a downside of this map is that there are some obscure places, obscure events that you actually have to find in order to win. Yeah, that's a good shield for a troll actually. The biggest advantage of having a troll is that it can regenerate, and obviously if your defense is much higher, it can sustain much more damage, basically. I want to try the devil fight now. With this shield, it actually even sounds not half as crazy, but the problem is that devil doesn't have retaliation. And if the devil had retaliation, it would be an easy fight actually. But right now I have to attack him myself, and as soon as devil attacks the same troll that he retaliated to, it kind of basically means an instant loss. So it means that I have to skip this fight. So I want to try the green dragon fight, I think. But the white dragon is actually stronger. So most fights in the beginning are not actually very difficult. Even you could say easy. But trust me, there are quite a few very, very good fights further into the map. We've got a few elves, so there are a few more to join in this area, as you can see. Okay, so this garrison basically means that we can come here through the portal, but we cannot come back until we are able to go through this fairly strong garrison. Okay, so I don't think I want to trade the troll for now. There are a couple of fights I would actually want to take before that, and having a troll is very, very useful. So there are a couple of dendroid fights just to the right side of the town, which I would want to clear before going into this garrison. Also check the map in case I miss some artifact. And also it's worth pointing out, Armor is a great spell, great skill, especially on this map, but in general it's always worth considering for your hero. I generally tend to skip this skill though for like a giant map, unless I am playing Armorer Specialist, in which case it's a no-brainer to actually take this skill, and obviously by default every Armorer Specialist actually starts with this skill. But here, because we don't have any magic, we just basically freed ourselves a few skill slots, and we have all the skill slots we need to get any decently good skills actually. The troll once again carrying the day with the regeneration, and we got our first dragon. And now we'll be perfectly happy to part ways with a troll. And it will mark a beginning of a new, you could say, phase of this map. The phase where we start kiting. And first thing that jumps at me here is that I did not split my dwarves, which I should, because my army is very clearly fit for kiting. I have a pretty good kite. Maybe the dragon is a little bit too strong for this role at this stage, but it's definitely gonna be a perfect fit for later fights. And I have a bunch of dwarves which serve a perfect role as a wall for my shooters. So I think in this case the best split would be either 3 or 4 equal dwarf stacks. So it would be like either 3 stacks of 5 or 4 stacks of 4 and 3 dwarves. But I could as well see that I could have 3 stacks of 1 and have 12 dwarves in a separate stack. And in general I would prefer actually this way. But it works a little bit better if you can shelter the bigger stack behind the ones. And in this army I actually cannot do that. In this army I actually cannot do that because I have 2 shooters. So I would need more than 3 stacks to close 2 shooters and another stack. Okay, I even can take leadership here. The skill I would normally skip. So let's see, if I go into the mummies fight without splitting, I think mummies speed 5 is actually a fight that will require me to split dwarves, so I probably shouldn't have a good time with this fight. So I think it's worth talking just a bit about kiting. I'll explain the way I understand how AI prioritizes targets to chase, which is essential for understanding the kiting. The following is not 100% how it works, and it may contain mistakes or inaccuracies, but this model served me very well and was extremely useful. First, I'll give you the list of things that AI seems to be weighing when selecting a target, and after that I'll try to highlight them whenever I see a fitting moment. There will be a few more fights with kiting, and we'll have some examples to discuss, even if we miss some in this fight. So, generally, when taking a turn, AI takes the following into consideration. First, it looks at how many moves each of your units is away from its stacks. Its current stack that takes the turn at any given moment. Then it only considers the targets that are closest. For example, let's take the previous fight against golems. Golems are extremely slow, and it was very easy to keep my dragon within two turns from them, while my other units were 3 or even 4 turns away from them. So it ensured that golems would always chase a dragon if I kept him a little bit closer. In this fight, however, as you can see, if I let the mummies reach the middle of the battlefield, they end up within 2 turns away from my dwarves, which brings me to a second parameter that AI uses here, and that's how valuable the potential target is. For example, if I put a dragon and any of my shooters 2 moves away from these mummies, you can bet that they will choose to go for shooters. That's because AI almost always considers shooters to be a more valuable target, unless, of course, their number is very small compared to others. That's why you prefer your shooters covered by your other units when you use a separate unit for kiting. In this army, the dwarves are supposed to be that less valuable unit. However, that's not all, and as you can see, the mummies still prefer going for dwarves, all things equal, despite the dragon being obviously a higher value unit than 5 dwarves are. And the third criteria is a danger level of a potential target. And also there are potential danger zones on a battlefield. Danger zones are not present here, but to illustrate, imagine that I had a 4th dwarf stack. And that stack would be huge, let's say 1,000 dwarves. Way stronger than a dragon, and way more than any mummies could take on. It would create and let's say I kept it next to my wall. So it would create a zone around this dwarf stack that AI would try to avoid. Therefore, mummies would naturally stay away from the dwarf wall and chose to chase a dragon instead. Among existing units, though, the dragon is by far more dangerous than dwarves, and mummies are too weak to challenge it, despite it being more valuable. And they prefer to target a unit that is weak enough for them to take care. Remaining mummies are actually too far from the wall to care about it, so that's why I was able to kite them relatively easily. But ideally you want your kite to be non-threatening to AI, and your shooter wall to be either too small to care about it, like 1 to 5 dwarves in this case, in each stack. Or you could also have a super strong unit in your wall acting as a deterrent. So think about it, about AI like it's a conscientious sugar junkie. It wants more sugar as much as it can have, but it also doesn't want to die of sugar overdose. You want your kite to be that yummy chocolate bar and your wall to be either broccoli or a full box of chocolate bars that it will not be able to eat and live another day to tell the story. If you can achieve that, you can kite most efficiently because AI will always prefer to follow your kite when its move distance to kite and to your wall is the same, and it has to choose between the two. So up to this point my dragon was a bit too strong for the enemies, like for the mummies, so I had to be a bit more careful. But even this combat, and even more so in later fights, enemy stacks are actually getting big enough to consider the dragon as a more interesting target than my wolf, and Therefore, it gets a little bit more easy, actually, to me. Another possibly useful hint, and that's if you use a weaker kite. For example, dragonflies are kind of one of, I think, best kites. And they're very, very weak, as you can imagine. And so if you use them, you can actually tune the strength of the kite much better. So here the skeletons are still kind of not that strong to challenge a dragon too happily, so I have to keep them away from the wall. As you can see, I try to keep them all the way to the right without letting them spill to the left side. And with a dragonfly it would be actually even easier, because if I had, like, let's say a wall that has one dragonfly in each stack, and if I had a kite that was, let's say, 5 dragonflies, so 30 skeletons most likely would prefer going for 5 dragonflies. And if you could actually tune it up or down depending on the strength of the enemy, you could have like 3 dragonfly kites, etc. So it's way more flexible. Okay, let's get back to the game. So it's gonna be a time when I upgrade my units finally. And fortunately there are some gold piles here. There is a huge nomad stack that I for now skip. It's way too much for me to take on at this point. And I think it is actually one of the more interesting fights, to be honest. It's gonna take place a little bit later though. So I need 100 ore there. So I have a couple of dragons now. These dragons will remain with me until the very end. And I'll find a few more elves as well. So let's see. Now, after I upgraded my dragons, I have a little bit stronger kite, as you can see, and I actually have 2 kites. Having 2 kites is a little bit more complicated, let's say. So as you can see, it makes golems a little bit disperse, let's say, because like the dragon that was further left was actually like 4 tiles from, I mean 3 or 4 tiles from the right side, and so the golems actually moved to the left side a little bit more than I would prefer them to. And so yeah, it actually makes a little bit more things a little bit more complicated, even though this way the kite is actually a little bit easier. But golems are pretty tough, so I actually do hope that they will stay on a dragon here. And they actually still don't. The 11 stack might be a little bit of a problem. I set up the dragons there to actually, hopefully the 11 will hit, and I actually check the turn order there, and I do think it should attack the dragon, because dragon had no retaliation at this point. So That's why it may have worked. Okay, so here I obviously need to kill these golems very fast. I cannot be losing any dwarves. So basically I would just wait here, yeah, and then focus on these two stacks. Okay, so we have another sharpshooter's bow. So I would split dragons here actually. I'm not sure will I do it right away. Oh, okay. So probably should go back a little bit. There are some dendroids for me. And now I should be more than capable of dealing with the dragons that guard them. Okay, I first go here, and I should have split, and I actually noticed the obstacles on the fight. I would actually join the dwarves even more than... Maybe I will still restart the fight now. I would join the dwarves and then would put everything in the top left corner, neatly tucked behind the dragons. Didn't expect the second stack to actually hit dwarves, since it could attack the dragon without retaliation. Okay, so it's much less about kiting here. So maybe... Okay, I still don't join. I would have joined the dwarves in the previous fight. And here it would actually work the same. Okay, maybe I will do now. I'm pretty sure even back then I saw the way to put everything behind dragons in the previous fight. And it works basically as you can see. Very, very nicely here. Now, everything these knights can hit is my dragons. Okay, another hidden event here. So I should come back for the dendroids. So a couple more fights about kiting, and I forgot to split dwarves again. So I should have joined the dragons. Also, probably not not very good idea. So you may have noticed I always move dragons, the kite, could be any kite, forward, almost always. It's not always 100% times that you want to move your kite forward, but okay, so that's definitely a very bad attempt. And I move them forward to actually basically take attention of the enemy units. Since at the beginning, most of the times enemy units that you could actually kite realistically will be 3 or more moves away from the wall, so they will actually only consider your kite at this point. So that's a bit of a nuisance that they split like that. I mean, not split, that they stagger like that, but fortunately they actually moved all the way down. Still very bad, okay. So I have to probably let my dragons get hit by rogues. So I would maybe have to move my dragon to the bottom right corner next turn. Maybe. Sometimes it actually works very well, but not, I don't think it works here. They just hit too much, and well, I should focus the rogues on top here. Maybe use a dragon to hit one time. Yeah, just like that. Okay, even 2 times. Not sure it actually will work. I may have tried there to move dragon to the bottom, maybe. Okay, so I actually even changed the fight. So this one is much easier to kite, most definitely. So these have a very low speed, and they're strong enough to actually not care about dwarves. Now you see the stack on top actually moved towards dwarves, but that's because this stack was already almost dead. So they would not actually prefer chasing dragons, and it may have happened to you a number of times if you tried kiting. That's when you let's say you start kiting and you do fine, enemies stay on your kite as intended, but then at some point they start going for your wall, and most of the times the reason for that is because the kite is just too strong for the remaining units in that stack. And that's basically why the zombies prefer to go for the wall, the first stack. Now, the biggest problem here is that I don't have many shots actually, and I shouldn't have killed 3 stacks with my shooters, or rather 2 stacks. One of the stacks was killed by a dragon, but... So I have... I will run out of shots here. So if this fight was with an ammo cart, which, by the way, if you do the kiting, is always a good idea to actually have an ammo cart. And so I should be reducing all stacks at this point. And so I do, right? So as you can see, I started working on 4th stack at this point. So I want to bring them down, all down a little bit, as low as I can. and that's to basically reduce their retaliation potential. So my dragons will have to do the rest after I run out of the shots, and basically let's say all is left is this like 4 stacks, 75 zombies, right? And after a dragon hits, that's what, like 60 zombies, and these 60 zombies will retaliate. So that's not a very pleasing experience, as you can imagine. So I ran out of shots, and here obviously, okay, maybe I shouldn't have hit second time there. Honestly, it's maybe a little bit how would I say that? A little bit risky to lose this much health points, so I would actually prefer to hit and run there. And breath attack here is one thing that helps me very much. So I will be able to hit another 30 and still damage the 62. And morale very nicely. So basically trying to squeeze in as much damage as I possibly can. Should have more than enough. Still have, what, 60 hit points, I think. Okay, that was one much easier than the fight against rogues. But I should be dealing with rogues without actually much problem, if I'm honest. I don't think I did a very good job there, but they are much more difficult to kite for sure. They have speed 6, so way more difficult to kite. And here is actually a hidden artifact. So whenever you place like a custom map, it depends on an author for sure. Some authors tend to put hidden things more than others. So what I do usually is like I hover my mouse over things and look at the information line at the bottom. So that's the way I actually found a helmet there, a best helmet in the game. Okay, time to part ways with some stuff. And then there is another shield. Okay, this Sword of Judgment is guarded by, I think, either 20 or maybe 15 archangels. And I judged that I am not prepared to deal with them. still have to come back to get the dendroids, so I guess I will come back later. So whenever you see the obstacles like this, like a huge obstacle, like maybe two obstacles like here, always look for some ways to put to create choke points. Like here I put my dragon, I put my units on top specifically to use the choke point on the left side, and I had my dragons on the bottom to actually make sure that some enemies will go bottom. But basically it's you can see very trivial with my stats, and dragons actually are capable of taking all this damage without problem. So once again I would put my dragons down, and I mean on the bottom. Hopefully even like a second from the top stack will go, or even like top stack, even better. So let's say I even do not succeed with kiting or anything. It still means that enemy units will go all the way around this obstacle to my elves. You see that jump here, it's, I think I lost like 4 seconds footage back then, something like that. Nothing really important there, as you may imagine. So a couple of dragons. Okay, the question is if dwarves are... Okay, so they still attack dwarves. I was hoping that they might attack dragons with a breath attack, might be good enough. But there is a garrison next to us, so very nicely we can use this garrison to actually leave some units. And now you can see I actually use once of dwarves, and that's because I don't have a second shooter now, so I can actually shelter remaining dwarves. So I would probably hit pikeman next turn and move dragons, obviously top right corner. One other thing, sometimes you kite with help of slow, and slow is obviously very strong. You can kite very fast units thanks to the slow. And what I like to do when you can afford it, obviously, I'll try to explain it maybe in the next fight. Well, next fight that I will be kiting. I think okay, maybe I'm just stupid. I actually thought that I could close the elves there. But now that I think about it, maybe I actually couldn't. Leaving them in the garrison, though, was definitely a perfectly valid solution. So that's, we will go into the underground, but we obviously need to come back. Okay, that's the ore we needed before. Maybe I did not come back because of that. Maybe. Okay, I don't think I can take Nomads here. But I will try apparently. Okay. Well, kiting Nomads, I don't think it's possible. With these obstacles, no way. No way it is possible. Even with slow, it would become quite a challenge, I feel like. Even with slow, because of how many choke points. Why do I keep calling them checkpoints? I don't get it, but there we go. With all those choke points, it actually is very challenging. They would very rapidly spread out all over the map. So, okay. The dragon actually reaches my forward dwarf there. I put the dwarves this way to make sure that no breath attack can hit an elf. It's a nice setup, but in this case it actually did not work. Sometimes you can do that, so sometimes it works wonderfully. Okay, time to come back to this garrison. It's a much easier fight this time. And actually, once again, I see the two nice choke points there. Move dragon forward a little bit. Once again, because I intend to use the choke point on the left side. Although, obviously, I don't even have to use it. Easy enough. So let's see, I do remember I wanted to explain a little bit about the slow and kiting with slow. So I hopefully won't forget when we have like a decent fight with kiting. We may actually not have any more fights with kiting now that I think about it. finally came for the Spirit of Oppression that I just noticed by accident here. There is a pile of gold. I'm not sure, maybe there was an event, some event behind this pile of gold. Don't think I collected it. And then there is a golden bow there. Missed a few. Okay, I forgot picking up the dwarfs there. Nice little boost, and I will have to upgrade them as well. Well, at this point, rogue fight is obviously very easy. But if I can, let's see, maybe I can actually explain the slow part. Let's see if I join my dragons. Okay, so I probably will move the dragon forward as before, and they move forward. Yes, that's right. So normally if you have slow, I would suggest doing the first turn pretty much the same way and not cast slow first turn. So after they moved all the way down, now you can cast slow, and they will not even, for the most part, ever reach your kite that after you put the kite to the right top right corner. And then you can just basically endlessly kite them like I do here with dragons. Most fights basically end up the same way, more or less. So actually delaying a slow by one turn is a very strong idea with kiting. That's what I wanted to say. And maybe I should be actually getting this sword. I don't think I will though. Okay, I'm not sure at this point if I need this cornucopia. Maybe I need some resources of it. I don't know. So I would actually not want to split my dendroids here, I think. And also I want my dragons to be put some way that doesn't allow all three archangel stacks hit my a single dragon. But still, that's kind of a pretty rough fight. Like killing all three stacks before they hit a dragon 3 times. It's gonna be pretty challenging. Maybe with some luck, morale, I mean, on my elves. Maybe it could work. Maybe I could use dendroids. 15 dendroids might be enough to dish out some decent damage. So I think I'm trying to put my dragons in some way that, but still kind of will expose both dragons. There are some ways though. I think I saw some ways to actually set it up. I mean, not when I played, obviously, but this time I think that there were some ways to set it up so that Archangels would have to split damage. Kiting with 2 units is always a little bit more complicated. Okay, I moved the dragon a little bit too far. Wow, okay, that's not great. Interesting that they actually, I mean, probably my stats are that good because 16 Minotaurs would actually, I feel like they should be preferring a dragon, even maybe 2 dragons over a Dendroid. So that's surprising actually. So I didn't kite using dragon there. I actually, oh my goodness, the morale. Maybe I have a spirit of oppression, so that's kind of actually silly not to use it here. Begs for a favorable RNG. Actually, prefer not to do that. At least maybe since that playthrough. I mean, maybe changed my mind after that playthrough. Prefer to look for some more reliable ways. So yeah, that makes sense. So dragon can actually be used in a more like, okay, I will be able to move dendroids up like this. Now the bottom stack doesn't reach anything, and else can kill both stacks in 2 turns. Nice ring, +1 speed. Always good. In this fight, actually, it's another cool idea to abuse Harpy's ability. Now I put my dragon forward a little bit, so that they basically... Okay, maybe I did... I see. I noticed that my elves deal a little bit too much damage. So basically I want to use my dragons to basically occupy harpies. So I won't be able to kite them. They're way too fast. But since they attack and return back, this way I can keep them in their places for some time. Now second dragon takes duty. Both dragons are actually equal in terms of hit points. Should be easy cleanup. Maybe I can just use dragons, I mean just not move them too far from the rooks. Or, as you can see, changing my wall to be a little bit more stronger, I mean a little bit stronger, also worked. So basically, kiting is in large part, in my opinion, in my experience, in that balancing your kite versus wall strength. And it is actually, you can do a lot of things. If you can, like, let's say, add units to your army, remove units from the army, etc. So this is a nice setup here. The idea is 15 dendroids are actually strong enough to be a bad target. So dragons would prefer hitting a single dragon and also actually using a breath attack on 2 dragons instead of hitting dendroids and getting wrecked by them. So that's basically the idea here. And this dendroid and a couple of dragons this way shelter the elves very nicely. And I think it was the first fight that I was unable to win without losses on my first attempt. And I actually did not even see this idea, or no, I mean this setup. And as you can see, it worked actually wonderfully. There is an armor of the Angelic Alliance. I will need Angelic Alliance a little bit later. There is at least one fight, I'm not sure, maybe there are more, but there is at least one fight where I have to have it, and otherwise I cannot win this fight without losses. Okay, that's my remaining army reinforcements. Basically, that's all I will have. 65 dendroids though. With this hero, you can imagine it's a very, very strong force. I wonder if I have rings of the elixir of life. No, I don't. Okay. I should find them shortly. This army with elixir of life is actually also even more impressive. And there are quite cool fights ahead with elixir. So basically same setup. I don't use a separate wall against fast creatures, and dendroid basically are an impenetrable wall, so nobody will dare attack dendroids. They will always choose to hit a dragon instead, and that preserves dendroids for me. So I won't be losing them, at least. So there is a first ring of life. Okay, that's I don't think it works here. I could stash units, like use only dragons here. That could work. But I think I should bring the Angelic Alliance here. Oh, okay. Red Orb, actually. Forgot about it. Okay, yeah. Orb of Inhibition works perfectly here. Second ring there. Okay, that's wonderful. And I have an Elixir of Life. Now you'll see how strong... Well, you probably can anticipate a very good performance. Now, so that's 25 Archdevils. Now, I'm not happy about it. Maybe I should leave Dendroids in the garrison. Indeed, and the reason is because Archdevils actually have no retaliation attack, they will be extremely happy to attack Dendroids. Exactly because Dendroids are the strongest stack. Okay, Elixir of Life takes the W here. Very easy. Can get some resources there. You actually don't need them, so... Okay, so it's gonna be now a fight that I have to bring our Angelic Alliance to. Without it, one of Titans will actually, at least one of Titans will actually be able to take a shot and probably even, no one, and it will kill one elf. And I cannot be losing elves. Now this fight is probably one of my favorites here. And well, let's see how I fared here. It's still quite a problem actually. These Nomads, I think Nomads are very weak for level 3. But that's a very large number of them. And kiting them here is impossible. Okay, so I will just say it's impossible. In my previous attempt, I put dragons on the right side, and I think I have an idea here already how I should be beating this fight. I actually had to replay this portion of a map because first time I accidentally used town portal before bringing the boat back, so I actually later realized that I cannot go back anymore. So now you can see I'm trying to put my units into this very beautiful pocket on the right side. But unfortunately 80 nomads kill one dendroid, so I need to come up with some better execution. So at this point I should realize that equal split of dendroids just doesn't quite work. I need to move way too many units through this choke point. That's kind of a problem. And so yes, I joined them. Also 65 dendroids are actually capable of dealing a lot of damage. And so I actually intend to basically run in, try to take this head on. And it seems that it actually should work even. So now time to move elves in, and second dragon should close the gap, and now we are set basically. So that was an idea. Pretty neat actually. I love that this pocket is on the opposite side of the battlefield, so you actually have to even get into this pocket. Okay, so that's another fight, the Archangel fight. Also same idea basically that I had with snakes and other fast units. So I basically rely on dendroids being too strong for the enemy to target them, and there we have an angelic alliance. And it's time to come back. And finally we are back to fight titans. And that's even auto combat doable at this point. And that's actually one pretty cool fight. And this probably message of the map maker was one thing that made me replay this map after the first attempt, when I was able to reach here. I was like, what? You didn't lose anything up to this point? Wow. And honestly, it's pretty impressive actually. So this is a setup I found for this fight. That's 15 Azure dragons actually. And it's a tricky fight, so dragons are always in danger of getting killed. And as you can see, my right dragon actually already got killed, so it's kind of a problem. But okay, let's see. I don't think I can improve anything here. I think that's basically the best I can have. And okay. So basically, what I was doing there. So I need to improve my survivability of my gold dragons. And that's since I cast prayer, it doesn't even work on dragons, so that's kind of a problem. So I thought that maybe if I have an improvement for one of Angelic Alliance slots, that would actually be worthwhile. And here, once again, dragon does end up falling. Now, if you noticed, very interestingly, there is a place that Azure dragons do not take initially, and that's the place next to the androids. Even though one of them can enter this place, for some reason they don't. That's somewhat puzzling, honestly. And I would expect it to be a little bit more consistent, but interestingly they sometimes go in that place, sometimes they don't. And basically, from what I can remember, it looks like, or it looked like to me at least, that as soon as I get to kill the first dragon, they actually swarm in. Previous attempt was pretty good, actually. Also, the fear on dragons actually screw me over very much. So this time I actually even only made a single shot on the big dragon here in front. And curiously, they still switched now, so probably still gonna be overwhelmed now. So more or less, what I'm doing here is trying to understand, trying to more or less play this weird AI behavior when it gets into this pocket and when it doesn't. And so I will stop shooting at the dragons that fight my dragons, and I will be reducing the extra dragons now. Since hitting either of these dragons I used to be shooting would trigger the attack. And normally when I kill one, the dragons from behind enter, and those are fresh, and that's why I was basically reducing them. And almost killed by now, actually. Okay, a little bit of a swap, but I don't think it actually already pretty solid. And there we go, actually lossless fight. Pretty cool one, actually. So we got a troll. Now that's for the quest in the very beginning. So we get to move all the way back. I don't remember what is this quest card there. Actually, I'm not sure that I even took that Pandora. Okay, so we got the angel wings. Now we basically can reach almost anything. So I forgot to equip the elixir of life there. Okay, some things on this map I actually don't quite understand, like this hat. For some reason is there. Okay, that's an old version of the Hota, so actually I was checking if there are any other green portals. The quest guard here was actually, or maybe still is, I don't know, is misplaced, was misplaced. But I mean, as the intent is clear, so why would I break the author's intent without without any need? Probably one of the final fights, and this one is actually even a little bit of kiting here. I probably should have attacked actually, just to be safer. Who knows, maybe 9 Gorgons would be able to kill one Dendroid. So I guess I am preparing for an Efreet fight there. Which is another pretty cool fight actually. Also, I think one of the better fights. And I don't think I brought the right army here. Well, I don't know. I was very fast to realize that, I guess. I don't know. That was fast. I'm not sure even if I need these 3 Dendroids actually. Okay, that's a very nice setup here. Basically, I want to reduce amount of fire shield damage, and like regular damage, my dragons can take quite a few hits. But still, I need to reduce Efreets, and actually having 2 stacks of elves helps a lot. Very importantly, because they don't finish the stack actually. So as you can see, like all these damaged Efreet stacks kept occupying space in front of my dragons. So it actually helps very much. And I didn't bring all Dendroids. I think it's very dangerous, because if for some reason like a bunch of Efreets would end up hitting a Dendroid, like 60 Dendroids, so they would get wrecked by retaliation, and this retaliation would most likely have killed 1, maybe 2 Dendroids just off the fire shield. So that's basically why I brought like just once. 1 Dendroid can perfectly sustain a hit. even a relatively big hit, so it would be pretty useful. So I forgot to use Angelic Alliance again. There is just one more puzzle to solve, I think. Probably that's gonna be it. I mean, one puzzle and one final fight. Final fight is also pretty interesting. Unfortunately, I was not able to do this fight without losses. But there were people who reported that they did. I mean, probably just one reported, but I mean, I don't know. You'll see the fight. I'll comment on it. So the last puzzle, and I don't think I mentioned it. Basically, the fact that I can cast spells was overlooked by the map author. So Kir doesn't have a spell book. So one would naturally think that she cannot cast spells, but actually she can, thanks to the tomes. And actually, the intended way to solve this... Okay, so I actually even just randomly stumbled into this thing here. So I will probably... Maybe I just figured it out the way I was supposed to do that. So Kiri should have left this place with wings, and Tazar should have waited there, basically. Where I freed him. Now Kiri will take second wings, and she would go back to Tazar. Kid needs to come back now with second set of wins. And she would pass one of them to Tazar. And Tazar needs to plug this portal so that Kir would be able to pass through it, and that would be a final fight now. Okay, so this fight is, as you can see, there are quite a few troubling things, like crystal dragons. 7 crystal dragons in a single stack is quite a lot. Golems are less of a problem, but they still quite a problem, unless I can kite them. And because of the dragons, it is actually much more difficult to do the kiting of these golems. And so basically I lose one dendroid right away just off the retaliation of 4 crystal dragons. At this point I'm still trying to win without losses, so I will be doing some things. So the problem is one of my gold dragons is getting killed second turn after getting wounded in the first turn, so ideally I would like crystal dragons to split damage between 2 dragons. But that's easier said than done. I will try one interesting way to do that. So the goal 1 is to reduce to split damage, split attacks. And second would be to try and kite golems after that. So unfortunately, as you can see, second dragon attacked a 1 dendroid now. It did not reach the same gold dragon. So that was kind of an idea, but unfortunately, instead of attacking a second dragon, it decided to hit a dendroid. So maybe I could have actually improved it and put 62 dendroids in front and block the ones. It may have worked this way. Maybe this is the idea, basically. But even then, I would probably need like a really good morale and luck. So I would need to somehow land a hit with my dendroids on dragons and not lose one. So I would probably need morale on elves before that, so that they could, like here, land 2 shots, maybe luck here. So even, okay, I mean, if I didn't hit with one, that probably dendroid would survive, okay? So maybe at this point I actually do not intend to go for lossless already, so I figured that just it's fine if I just win. So at this point I need to keep my dragons alive, more or less. Okay, even 4 dragons did not kill a dendroid. That's unexpected. Okay, so that's trivial now. Sometimes happens that AI actually probably figures that it's losing like pretty badly, and at some point it actually will send all of its units into an all-out attack, like it happened here. And there we go, that's actually end of the map. Pretty good map. I'm happy with the playthrough actually, and I think it's one of the playthroughs that was worthwhile commenting. Anyway folks, thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think about this map. Did you find this playthrough and commentary useful? Also, very importantly, I wanted to thank you all for the very kind feedback you gave me, in particular for my endgame fights in Mysterious Island playthrough. I looked through my older playthroughs and picked a few fights which I thought could be interesting to comment as well. Stay tuned for them. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.